looking at a Benjamin Moore paint color from the CSP line of paint colors, CSP 410, aka Lost Locket. This is part of the Color Stories palette that was exclusively designed for aura-based paint, but luckily you can get this in pretty much any Benjamin Moore interior paint color. So we're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you some other paint colors that go really well with it, including some trim options. So if that sounds good, I'm the color guy. My name is James with the color wheel, and let's get into this color review. So Lost Locket seems like it's sort of a neutral paint color because it's not very vibrant when you first look at it, but really it does have this beautiful hushed blush pinky quality to it that I really enjoy, and it almost seems like it's combined with a little bit of brown and maybe a bit of gray. Not specifically gray, because all these CSP colors by Benjamin Moore, they don't actually contain gray colorant really. It's just a combination of many other colorants to give you the illusion that they just put gray in it. But there's a lot of nuance when it comes to Lost Locket. There's a lot going on. So if you are thinking of using it on your next paint project, please be sure to test it out before you commit to painting. Now, one of the main things we talk about when it comes to a color review is figuring out how light or dark the color is. And we can do that by finding out the LRV, or the light reflectance value. And in this case, Lost Locket has around a 40 to 41 LRV, which does put it in the bottom half darkness-wise for paint colors. It essentially means it's only reflecting about 40% of the light that hits it. So not going to be a bright, airy, open color to sort of reflect as much light as possible back into your space. But because you're sacrificing some of that lightness, what you're making up for it is a color with some depth, with some body. So it's going to be noticeable, but it won't be too polarizing because all things considered, this is still one of those more desaturated colors. Now, don't write this off as a gray or a brown or a taupe even. This color does have that noticeable blush undertone, so just be aware of it before you use it. But it is quite beautiful, and I do enjoy it. Now, if you're good with that, what about some trim colors to go with it? Well, the first one I can offer you is Alabaster. Not Sherwin-Williams Alabaster, which is a much more popular paint color. The Benjamin Moore version is an off-white with maybe a touch of that pink blush quality as well. It's very subtle because it's a much brighter color, so there's less colorant inside. And sitting around that 85 LRV, this is going to reflect a ton more light, which means on the baseboard, it's really going to pop and just be magnificent. Now, what about a dark trim color? An alternative that isn't white. Maybe you want to have some dark doors or some furniture or cabinets or built-ins, and you want something really moody and dramatic. Well, what about almost black? It's not black, it's almost black. It's kind of a warmer leaning off black, sort of a graphite type of color. And just like the other colors we talked about that do lean a little bit towards the warm side of things, so does this one, but it's just a subtle amount of warmth. It almost feels like it has a touch of brown in it, so obviously not yellow or gold leaning, but really fits within the other colors in this palette beautifully. All right, let's get into some of the color pairings. The other paint colors you're going to use on your next paint project. The first one is Sonnet, and this is part of the AF color line, so not the CSP line, but what I do love about this color is it's a very nice neutral. It has, again, a very, very slight bit of that blushy pink undertone, but this one is more of a traditional feeling grayish in my opinion. It has a little more beige, it has a little more of a yellow undertone as well, and a noticeable gray aspect. So this is a great default color. If you want to use it in a space where you don't want an overabundance of that pink aspect, this one's going to feel a little more of a traditional warm neutral. And it also has some brightness to it. Its LRV is 70.4, and that makes it quite light. It's going to feel a lot brighter than Lost Locket, so that's another thing to consider. If you have a space in your home where you want it to feel a lot lighter and brighter, this is a great choice. Now, continuing on this blushy neutral color palette, Portland Gray would be my next choice. This is a color that is a little bit darker than Sonnet. It has a 60 LRV, so not quite as dark as Lost Locket. It does have a little bit of that red, but in this case, I think the gray pulls it into purple territory ever so slightly. Not a perfect monochromatic match undertone-wise, but kind of a neighbor, sort of an adjacent, a little bit along the color wheel kind of vibe, if you know what I'm saying. Now, being a 60 LRV, this is great because it gives it enough versatility and flexibility to use in a variety of situations. It's not going to feel too light or too dark in most cases. 60 is a great place to be because it just feels noticeable enough without pulling focus. So definitely neutral, definitely passive, but different from Sonnet and Lost Locket. And our third color pairing is kind of the accent color. I think Lost Locket can be an accent as well, but this one has a lot more depth to it and a very different color hue in blue. It's called Black Pepper. I find this color to work wonderfully in neutral palettes because it has this wonderful quality where it kind of stands out. It's not a navy blue. It's not an overly dynamic blue that's going to dominate a space. It still kind of fits in nice. And that's what I was going for in this palette. I wanted to sort of stay within the neutral so that everything can kind of coexist, which means you can use this not just in an accent form, but as a room color in a variety of different places, including bedrooms, bathrooms, even a dining room, an office. There's a lot you can do here. Here's the palette all together. Please let me know what you think. And if you want more content from us, our Patreon is live, exclusive brand new content there every single Sunday. And if you become a Prime member, you get your own personalized mini color palette every single quarter. So 3 months or so. Here's another video if you want to check that out right now. Why wouldn't you, right?